The Enchanted Grove. Growing up, my grandmother used to tell me stories of the Enchanted Grove at the edge of the woods, a place where fairies danced beneath the moonlight. I always thought they were just tales to keep me in line, until one fateful night when I decided to venture into the grove. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an ethereal glow over the ancient trees. The air was thick with magic, and I felt a strange compulsion pulling me deeper into the woods. It was as if the grove itself had come alive, beckoning me to join its secret dance. I entered the grove and saw them tiny, luminous figures with delicate wings, their laughter like tinkling bells. The fairies twirled and danced, their movements mesmerizing. I watched in awe, unable to tear my eyes away. One of the fairies, a radiant creature with silver wings, approached me. She held out her hand, and I couldn't resist the urge to touch it. As soon as our fingertips met, a surge of cold, unearthly energy coursed through me. The fairy's smile twisted into a wicked grin, and her laughter turned mocking. Suddenly, the other fairies swarmed around me, their delicate features contorted with malice. They grabbed my arms and legs, their tiny hands surprisingly strong. With horrifying speed, they lifted me into the air and began to spin me around in a dizzying whirl. My screams echoed through the grove, but the fairies only laughed harder. It was as if they were draining my very essence, feeding off my fear and pain. As the world spun around me, I caught glimpses of their true nature, monstrous creatures with sharp, pointed teeth and malevolent eyes. They were not the benevolent beings of my grandmother's stories, but something far more sinister. Just as I felt myself slipping into unconsciousness, they released me, sending me crashing to the ground. The fairies vanished into the night, leaving me bruised and broken. I crawled out of the grove, my body trembling with terror. My grandmother's stories had been a warning, a reminder that not all magic was benevolent. The memory of the Enchanted Grove and the malevolent fairies still haunts me, a chilling testament to the darkness that can lurk in the most beautiful places. The Forgotten Pact. In the depths of a remote forest, there was an old, decrepit tree known as the wishing oak. Legends said that fairies dwelled within its twisted roots, granting wishes to those who dared to make a pact. The stories always carried a warning, but my desperation led me to the wishing oak one moonless night. I stood before the gnarled tree, whispering my deepest desire, a cure for my sister's terminal illness. The wind whispered through the leaves, and a soft voice answered, promising to grant my wish, in exchange for a simple offering, my voice. Without hesitation, I agreed. The tree's roots wound around me, and a searing pain tore through my throat as my voice was stolen away. In return, a small vial appeared at the base of the tree, filled with a shimmering, otherworldly liquid. I rushed home and gave the elixir to my sister. To my astonishment, her condition improved overnight, and she grew stronger with each passing day, but my sacrifice had not gone unnoticed. Late one night, I heard a soft, melodic laughter outside my window. I peered out and saw them fairies with wings like shards of glass, their eyes filled with malice. They whispered to me, reminding me of the pact I had made. They demanded more than my voice. They wanted my soul, in exchange for my sister's life. They sought to claim my essence, to make me one of them. Panic set in as I realized the true nature of the wishing oak's magic. I tried to escape, but the fairies were relentless. They tormented me day and night, their laughter a haunting refrain. I watched helplessly as my sister's condition deteriorated once more, her life slipping away. Desperate to save her, I returned to the wishing oak, pleading for the fairies to release me from the pact. But they only laughed, their wings shimmering with malevolence. They had no intention of letting me go. In the end, I had to make a terrible choice to break the pact and sacrifice my own life to save my sister. The fairies watched with cold amusement as I whispered my wish to the wishing oak one final time. The tree accepted my offering, and as I felt my life force slipping away, I saw my sister's health return. The fairies vanished into the night, leaving me alone and voiceless. My sister lived, but I had paid a terrible price for her recovery. The memory of the wishing oak and the malevolent fairies still haunts me. A chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk within even the most enticing promises. The Bewitched Garden. In the heart of a remote village, there was a garden unlike any other. It was said to be the dwelling place of fairies, creatures of beauty and mischief. The villagers avoided the garden, fearing the unpredictable nature of the fairies, but my curiosity got the better of me. One moonlit night, I ventured into the garden, the scent of blooming flowers filling the air. I saw them fairies with gossamer wings, their laughter like the chiming of tiny bells. They danced among the petals, their movements ethereal and entrancing. I watched in wonder as the fairies weaved intricate patterns in the air, leaving trails of shimmering light. Their voices were like a sweet melody, inviting me to join their dance. The temptation was irresistible, and I stepped into the garden. As I twirled among the fairies, I lost track of time. It felt like mere minutes. But when I glanced at the moon, I realized that hours had passed. The fairies showed no signs of stopping, their laughter growing more manic. I tried to leave, but an invisible force held me in place. The fairies' dance became frenzied, their wings a blur of motion. Panic set in as I realized that I was trapped in their bewitched garden, a captive to their whims. Suddenly, the fairies' laughter turned sinister, and their once beautiful faces twisted into grotesque masks. They descended upon me, their tiny hands like vices, their nails sharp as thorns. They scratched and clawed, drawing blood. I screamed, but the fairies only laughed harder. It was as if they were feeding off my fear and pain, relishing in my suffering. They whispered in a language I couldn't understand, their voices filled with malice. Hours turned into days, and I grew weaker with each passing moment. The fairies showed no mercy, their cruelty relentless. It was as if I had become a plaything in their malevolent game. One night, as I lay on the ground, bruised and broken, the fairies finally released me. They vanished into the darkness, leaving me alone in their cursed garden. I stumbled out, my body trembling with exhaustion and terror. The memory of the bewitched garden and the malevolent fairies still haunts me. A chilling reminder that beauty can hide the darkest of secrets.